Hello everyone. So I talked about this many times before over the years, and it's something that's still very prevalent, even more now than ever. And that's to do with domestic violence, and not even that, violence against women too, and even just threats online, etc., or particularly public figures, etc. And particularly young women that are trying to maybe get into politics, or even just even basic, just giving opinions online, etc. And first of all, I start with domestic violence. Now, Ireland is very bad when it comes to domestic violence. And a lot of people do, and I've came across many cases in Caventry, for example, of people being controlled. In some cases, it has happened before that the woman was controlling the man, or abusing the man. That does happen. It's not as common as the other way around, where men abuse their wives, abuse their girlfriend. And it just there is serial offenders. What I mean by serial offenders, there's men that are with women for a few months, and then the woman throws them out. The woman throws him out, and then he finds another woman down the country, and then he does the same thing to her. And these people are predators. That they're predators in society. They think they have the right to control a woman, and I've seen many cases like that, unfortunately. That they think that the woman is their property, and it's disgusting stuff when you really think about it. That somebody can say I own you and stuff. It's sickening stuff, and nobody should ever have to put up with that in society. Just to say, and anybody is in that situation, I would encourage you to please. I know it's easy to say that it's tough to get out of that situation and stuff. To always get out of it, because it's never going to get any better, unfortunately. And the reason why I'm talking about this at the moment, there was a case in Finland, in Helsinki, just outside Helsinki, of a woman who was killed by her partner. And with domestic violence, pretty much arguing and stuff and different things for the last few months, and culminated into this. And unfortunately, it happens all the time. Unfortunately, across Europe, or even in just in Ireland, we probably could look at 6 or 7 cases in the last few months, of women being killed by their husbands or killed by their boyfriends, etc. Because many different reasons. Is to do sometimes, a lot of the time, is to do with control. It's just having that aspect of control. I've seen cases of that, to do with their money. There was a case in Cavan, an older woman, unfortunately, that she had to go through this. It was so unfortunate that she had to go through this. And he looked like to me, he did look like a man who was not the worst person. But he did control her. He did control everything really about her. Really, he told her what to wear. He told her what to do, who she could ring, who she could talk to. And to control her money at the end of the week too, when she went to work. He took her money off her and didn't give her access to her bank account. And it's really disgusting stuff when you really sit down and think about it. It's really disgusting that somebody would do that to anybody, regardless of who you are. But it does happen, and it's very prevalent thing in our society. If we looked at the court papers today, just in Cavan, for the last week or two, we have cases up probably every week, unfortunately. If we looked at all the pictures of Ireland, like in every county in Ireland, we would be here for a month just looking at a week's worth of it. To be told, that's how bad it is. Like, I think it was last year, 54,000 cases were reported in Ireland, something like that. And as I say, sometimes it was the other way around, but mainly it was men. And there's a lot of anger out there in men and stuff like that. And I will say that as a man myself. There's a lot of anger in terms of men, and like in terms of men and stuff, and they do take it out of women. And of course, there's a lot of just people very frustrated with them. I don't know, it's hard to know, but in society, there's many different things. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs. In a lot of cases, it's control, and it's drugs, and it's alcohol, or it's money. There's many other different things. There's other small aspects we could go into. But I think the point I'm trying to make, and the main point is that it shouldn't be tolerated, first of all, in society. These things happen. And unfortunately, they do happen behind closed doors. As I said about that case in Cavan, I thought the man wasn't the worst person. But it's not until you find out and you realise what's going on, because you never know what's behind the book, if that makes sense, or behind the cover, or behind the door, if that makes any sense. And it's shocking stuff when you do read about stuff. I read about it all the time, unfortunately, online. It's absolute shocking stuff what happens in some of these cases. Absolute shocking. I've read about one time a woman, the husband locked her in the room, when she was finished work, etc., and wouldn't let her out. Just in case she would see another man or try to escape and stuff. And it's evil stuff, really, really is. But I just want to move on to the other point, and I suppose the reason why I'm talking about that, along with what happened in Helsinki last week, It was to do with an event I went to about 2 weeks ago. It was to do with the former Finnish Prime Minister, Sanna Marin. Very brave woman, may I say. Very, very brave woman. I think true inspiration. I think everybody should pretty much be looking up to Sanna Marin. She's a great woman. I had the pleasure of meeting her. Of course, I had to mention that. But yeah, she's a great woman. She really is true an inspiration to everybody. Regardless of your man or your woman or who you are, I think she's a great inspiration to us all. And we're very lucky to have a person like Sanna Marin as a public figure in the world too, not just in Finland, but across the world too, as somebody that's a good shining example of women leadership too. I say that as a man too, but she is a good leader. And not many conservatives and stuff would say such a thing, but she is a good leader. And I think the thing about it is, and I've seen this just take for example, Maria Stevenson when she was going for the president of Ireland, which was trying to get her nomination. I've seen people online saying, about Maria Stevenson, take for example, that I wouldn't vote for a woman, etc., etc. And the thing about politics and stuff, and I get into the other aspects of it because there's another side to the coin too. But the thing about it is, I don't even think about it. And there's that aspect of society that people do take in terms of gender and stuff. If this person's a woman, I'm not going to vote for because she's a woman. And I've seen people say that she'll get back into the kitchen, etc. It's very offensive. It really is very offensive and stuff. What I'm trying to say is, we shouldn't distinguish that in politics. If you're going for political office or whatever it may be, it's about your ability and are you a good person? Can you do good things? Are you able to do your job? Are you able to do, particularly in politics, are you able to speak up for people? Are you able to do stuff for people? It doesn't matter if you're from if you're a woman or a man, as long as you can do your job. That's the main thing, and I think Sanna Marin is a great example of that. Too, that the women can do great work, and of course women are more empathetic and sympathetic than men. Show a bit more emotion, etc., etc., than men, and that's a proven fact. But it's something to just to be mindful of. But just going back to Sanna Marin, I did read all of her book. Her new book that's out, not sponsored of course. But it's shocking stuff, particularly the end when she talks about violence against women, and she's right in saying about Afghanistan type was up at the moment. But what's happening in Afghanistan under the Taliban and women's rights, etc. Even just to go outside, it's absolutely disgusting. What's happening over there. But she was right in saying that the world's a lot more dangerous now for women. In a lot of cases, we see it even in the West, as I say, but domestic violence and stuff. And it's something we don't talk about enough in society. And I think men particularly too, and I'm saying this as a man, but looking at it too, and especially being at the event, etc., did talk to other women and stuff there too. And they're other public figures too, not maybe as notable as Sanna Marin, but but the point is, both Sanna Marin was made the amount of sexualized threats online, etc., and physical threats of harm against her, mainly because she's a woman, etc., is disgusting, especially in a modern society and stuff. It shouldn't happen, and it shouldn't be tolerated. First of all, against anyone, regardless of who you are, if you're a counsellor, if you're just an ordinary person, etc. It shouldn't be tolerated. But I just want to speak on the other coin for a second, the other side of the coin. That I've seen women online just even give their opinion. I remember one time it was a TV show or something. I just happened to see it on Twitter, and this woman was saying just her opinion on the show. It wasn't even political. I wouldn't mind if it was political. You would understandably get a reaction in some cases, but she said, I don't know. I think it was some kind of Netflix show or something like that. But she said her opinion, and the reply she got, just I looked at it because it just intrigued me, because it was just shown to me. And the replies that she got was very sexualized, very offensive, saying get back into the kitchen, and it's disgusting stuff. And even just take for example, a lot of young women, etc., trying to get into politics, take for example. I would hate to see them. I would hate to see, even just for men, young men and stuff, getting into politics. It's hard. But just the over sexualization too, even just in society in general too, it's insane. And it's not right too, in a way. It's not right in any way, may I say. But you would wonder, you wonder why a lot of young people won't go and stuff for politics and for political careers, councillors, TDs, etc. It's because of that, and because a lot of women do experience violence or threats. It's a shameful thing to have to say in 2025 that these things still happen. But it's something it's still happening in society. It's not changed. But I do think it should be our goal. Even as men and stuff like that make sure that it's eradicated as much as possible. Because it is a stain on society. As I said in my community post, when it was before the book came out, when she'd done an interview about it to the Guardian. It's a stain on society. It really, really is in any society that these things happen to women. To mothers, to sisters, to grandmothers. It's a stain. It is a stain because women bringing children into the world, etc., etc. They're a very valued part of society. And of course, there's so many inspirational women. There's one behind me, that's done great stuff for the world, and I don't think it's acknowledged enough. Very powerful woman that's done good things for the world. The one behind me is a great example, as I say. It's not acknowledged enough, I don't think, in society. But yeah, so let me know what you think. We talked about a good bit of aspects there, but it's a very wide subject to talk about too. But I just wanted to give my thoughts for a few minutes on it, because you don't see, first of all, many conservatives ever come out and say such things. But it is true, and it's a fact of life, and it's happening. And I think ignoring it's not helping. It's only when you address these things. There's something kind of changed. Even if it's a 1% change, is better than no change. It's even just having a discussion about it. It's shedding light on it, even if it's in such a small way. Shedding light, and it's important to that light is shed on these issues, because they don't get enough mainstream attention. They should, to be totally honest, because they are very serious issues. They have very serious consequences in a lot of cases too, of people being abused, people getting control their whole lives, basically like in control pretty much of somebody else. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe for more, and let me know. Have you ever experienced something like this? Because unfortunately, it's as I say, it's a very common thing now nearly in Ireland. As I say, 54,000, nearly, I think it was either 52,000 cases last year in Ireland. Very serious stuff on tip was that, but just last point to make. There is help out there for any woman or any man too that's experienced this. But the main thing I would say to you, never put up with it. You're better than that. You deserve better. So always do try and get out of it. Because it's only going to get worse, and unfortunately people make promises and stuff saying they will change, etc. In a lot of them cases they don't change. People that abuse you, mistreat you, and you deserve better regardless of who you are. But as long as then, of course, know you're valued, and know that you're cared about. People do care about your friends, your family. It's better to seek help and to get out of that situation. But anyway, let me take subscribe for more and bye.